Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session. I hope you can hear me well and the sound is good and you can see me well as well. So, welcome. And that's my first session, live session on LinkedIn. So I'm new here. So please bear with me and thank you for being patient and kind towards me. My name is Tamara. For those who don't know me, my name is Tamara, and I have been working in B2B marketing in tech over 10 years already. So the goal for the session is mainly for me to, share the insights and the practical tested work that I've done and gathered so you can leverage and use it for yourself at your marketing departments, for your product, for your, beneficial use. And in the form of preparation for this session, I shared the Google form so that you guys can fill out the questions and challenges that you faced, so that I can break them down during the session, and that you will really have some practical takeaways to work on and with. So I got a couple of responses. So I will build up the session based on those questions in order to really have a hands-on practical session. And also, if you have questions, of course, feel free to share them in the comments. And I hope there will be a recording. Honestly, I don't know. I'm doing that for the first time, but I hope there will be a recording so you can rewatch that. And also, I will share the notes with you after the session in the comments so you can also grab and use it if you like it and if you want it. So before jumping into the, the real questions that I got from you guys, I would like to, set a bit of the context that currently the market is in. So what I define or noticed is that the market is currently, overpopulated, oversaturated, and, like with all the open source and AI tools, and now everybody's talking about vibe coding. So it's so easy, software is becoming commoditized, and then it becomes so easy to create a tech product. So now the main challenge is to market that effectively. So I think that's one of the reasons as well. I've been working with the different early stage startups and scale ups as well, and I see the same pain points repeating. So I decided to finally starting to host practical sessions where I will share the insights that I got based on the work that I also done. So let's move on. And as I said, being authentic and positioning yourself well on the market is one of the main, I would say, goals in today's world. So the first question that I got from the one of the co-founders of the small startup is like, we've built a great product, but users are not converting. Like, we are getting signups, but I think the users are not getting the value. First of all, that's rather common problem or question. I would say that I hear from the co-founders of the startups, and usually the vision that you as a co-founder, put into the product might be different from the vision that the market gets. So this is very important to clarify during, when you define product market fit. So now, like, based on this question, I have the, like a feeling that they have already product market fit, although there is a, like the issue with the signups and activation, as well as the adoption of the solution. But still, first of all, now I would, like say you have to be crystal clear on who you're for and how you are different. So you definitely need to know your users and the pain points that you are solving. So ask yourself again, better to have the, positioning session exercise to align internally on those main pillars of the success, what I call them. But like, who are your users and what their role, what the problem that they are trying to solve, and how painful and urgent the problem is. Because very often, okay, there is a problem, but it's not urgent and painful enough. Therefore, they sort of like sign up, they try, but they don't really buy or convert into paid users. So another thing, what I would suggest, that there is the issue with the, like you got the signups. So, like your messaging on the website, like attracts them. So you draw attention. So people sign up, but then at the same time, they're not activating and not actively using the product. So this is where the friction is. So like the product promises probably do not really match with the user's experience of a product. And that's the thing that you have to resolve upfront with, again, sort of like ask his, not you, but ask the question to the users. For example, if you could not longer use our product, how, like disappointed you would be, how would it affect you? Then you will see how painful their pain or their needs are, and how, like urgent they want to have this solution. So the thing is, once I had a conversation again with one of the co-founders, like, yeah, we, like we have a SaaS solution for media, I think music creators. And it's like, yeah, we have users and we do emails now and then, but like, do you do, and I asked the questions like, what kind of onboarding flow you have? And he's like, we don't have any. And this is for me like a shocking moment in a sense, like it's like a game, like playing hard to get, sort of like you attract the users and then you leave them out and you let them figure out your product by themselves. So that's one of the problems that I think in today's market is definitely not allowed. So I would ask, like, do you have an onboarding flow, process? How does it look like? What is the sequence? Do you have like 4, 3, 5 emails? What information do you put in each email? Like, do you have product hints? Like, how do they know what feature should they use next? Because if you don't show me how to use that, how should I know? It's the same like when I'm during the preparation for the webinar for the session, I need to install a new tool. But like, how do I know which feature I need to click if you're not, like hinting me or like guiding me through the product? And this is like people sign up and they are not actively using the product because maybe they don't know what is there in the product. So you need to have in-product communication as well, like progress bar, pop-ups, like, like highlight if they activated one feature, highlight the next one so they know what is the next step that they need to move forward. So signups to activation, activation to, like engagement. So signups to activation, also there are so many, like gaps in the process that usually is overlooked. For example, like how easy it is for people to activate. Okay, so they signed up with their Gmail account, and probably they got the activation email in the inbox, but maybe it landed in promotion folder or in a spam folder. That's why they are not activating. But then let the team on your side to follow up. So for example, you see today you had like 5 signups. Tomorrow there is like zero activation, or like in the same day. So the next day, ask a team or like customer success manager or customer support, like to follow up with them. Like, have you activated? Like, we've noticed you haven't activated yet. Have you met any bottlenecks? Were there any problems in the process to activate your solution? So what I said, like make the, like the window like 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and measure, for example, signups and activation and engagement. So for example, they sign up and then activated and then started to engage with the product. Then see how what features they've been using, what specific features they gravitate to, or like, imagine you have 5 features, but within the first 3 days they have been using just 2. Does it mean that because they don't know that the other exist, or maybe the rest of the features are not that relevant or urgent for them to use? So this is a very interesting, like thing to measure and to track. You don't need to have a like very expensive solution. You just still can use Excel spreadsheet, but you need to start gathering that information pretty early. And what I was also very surprised, that what I call, they don't really have like reincarnation playbook. So for example, you attract users, they sign up, and then they activate, and then they disappear. So they haven't, okay, they tried your solution for 1 2 days, and then they haven't used your solution for like 3 days. Reach out to them. That's the most easy and quick access or opportunity to get a real feedback, because later on you can use it to improve, like either product, refocus, you can improve messaging, like you can figure out so many things. So again, let your team, customer success team, to reach out and says like, hey, you noticed you haven't been using that for 3 days. What's stopping you from using other features? Did you find maybe the product is complicated? Maybe it's not easy for them to grasp the, like the value as it is for, like developers in their head. So keep this feedback loop running, and then you have to build up the process and reiterate, improve, test, reiterate, improve. And this is how you will build up it very in such a way that you will definitely, like have a numbers, and you will have a proof, and then you can move forward. So, like improve your signups, activation, and engagement. A very similar question I got from the other co-founder of a startup, who was talking about like, we keep shipping features, but no one is talking about them or using them. Maybe we are not telling the right story, or our messaging is wrong. I like this question because they already aware that there something is wrong, and maybe messaging is wrong. And this is what I also mentioned before, like the messaging is very important when you tell the story about the product value to the target audience, because product marketing is like, as I call it, two-lane road. So on the one hand, you collect the feedback from the customers, and on the other way you communicate the value of the product to the market. So you need to like be very good and specific in messaging, and the messaging should be clear. So it's like you get it. It's like I get it. Like I see the tagline on the website, and I 99% understand what this product is about. So it's clarity, it's relevance. It's relevant for me. So like I read the message and it's like, okay, this is what I want. It communicates the value, and then it like communicates differentiation. So it's like this tagline on the website should be very, very specific, and it's a lot of work in order to get that, like, 2 lines maximum on your website, because this is how like you attract the right users, so that if the messaging is wrong, you attract wrong users, and then you have the problem with, like, okay, they're activating but they are not engaging. So again, understanding users and the messaging. Also, there is an interesting question, I think, that is a bit connected to the messaging, is the segment. How do you segment when you ship features? Because very often when companies ship features, they, like target the same audience as, for example, they target for the entire product, which I think can be wrong or is wrong approach. In sometimes it works, but often it's a wrong approach because a specific feature solves a specific pain point, and therefore your target audience can and should be different from the target audience of the product. So think before you ship a feature, think about who is this feature really for, and what specific pain point solves that? What segment has the strongest pain point that this feature solve? And then it would be easier for you to plan the entire process of, like feature launch. That's another, what is like, she we are shipping features, okay, but then how frequently? Do you have a plan? I have been working with a company, with one startups, and they have been shipping features like almost like every week. So there was, I think, 3 emails sent out. So like pre-launch, launch, post-launch. And I was like, guys, it's so wrong. The users are overwhelmed. Like, and can you imagine, again, they also getting some marketing newsletters, and the company or company is hosting some webinars. So it's so much information and inbox communication that the user is just like overwhelmed. So this is what I said, like, plan. So you build up the specific segment for your future launch. Plan the activities. Plan what the goal of this release. Like, do you want to expand expand the segment? You want to increase retention? You want to decrease the churn? Like, what is the goal of this release? Set it up and align the entire team, because after release, like, you will have a sales team reach out, you will have success team talking to the same user, so everybody has to be aligned as well with what is the success metric, what is the define what a success look like for you for this specific release. And then it's going to be way easier to plan it and organize that in systematic way. What I said, like, you have to form the habit for the users to want and expect, like, release emails and release communication from your site. If it's done chaotically and it's not planned and it's randomly done, then there is no consistency, there is no habit, and the users are going to be just like overwhelmed. And therefore, the open rate, the adoption rate will be super low. So form the habit consistently. Plan, okay, every second Tuesday over months we're gonna have release. Then you have the window for you to plan it thoroughly, to plan the, like segment, to plan the messaging and the channels. This is what I was also wondering and wanted to ask you, because mentioning that you ship features, but they are not, like um what is mentioned, like, but then they are not using them. So there are so many, like gaps. They are not using that because they don't know about the feature, or they are not using that because maybe the feature is not solving their urgent pain point. So um, is your messaging about the feature release crystal clear? Do you directly speak about the pain point that this feature is solving? Or is it just like overall general, nothing specific? So then if it's general, nobody would be really looking forward to release that feature. Be as crystal clear as you can. Again, the channels. Defined, you have to have a bundle of channels communicating about the release. Email, customer success, sales team, in product communication as well. Because again, in that the scenario when you do so many releases in a month, a user get overwhelmed and maybe overlook the inbox email, but then build up the in-product communication, like do some like pop-ups or like notification or like tips or like banners about the release of the new feature. And also messaging and naming is very important, because again, if it's super specific name of the feature that you just come up yourself because sounds super cool, are you sure that the users will get the idea what is the feature about? So never think about you, but think about the market. Because what I said, like you have to match the, like your perception with the reality, and markets give you the feedback on the reality. Um, so what else I can say, mention here? Yeah, I think what I said, like I just can sum up. So precise segmentation for feature release messaging is very important. Uh, Select channels smartly, like plan. You have to have the consistent release rhythm, define success metrics, because very often, like, what is the North Star metric for you guys? Because every company is unique and every product is unique, and then the metrics of a success can be different. But then if you don't know that, then how do you measure that the feature is really, maybe it is adopted and maybe it's used? So again, the more you ship, it doesn't mean the higher adoption rate is. So you just have to ship features smartly, and then you can, have a significant impact on your adoption rate. And then the third question that I had was related. It's like the combination of two. Because one of them related, it's like we are not sure about our best fit customers, and the other one saying about that we have um, we have too many customers. Sorry, we have too many products, and oh yeah, we market too many products or to local markets. And I think both of these questions, they relate to the, like they relate to segmentation. So it's very important to segment right. So the first scenario, if you like, we don't know who our best customers uh, are, or like you don't know your product market fit or market product fit, as I would say. So you don't know who you're serving to, or like Therefore, I would suggest you, first of all, you need to figure out your market product fit, and then you can segment and define the two segments that with whom your product resonates the most. When there is so many information and how to find product market fit and so many theories, um, I like whether like just ask the market and the market will give you the feedback. So ask the users or the potential users. So um, you develop hypothesis, you go on the market and test them. For example, here is the product or MVP that we have. Like, can you please test it out? And then you can go on the conversation asking if you could no longer use this product, how would you feel? Or if you could no longer use this product, how disappointed you would be. And then you can also use the scale to rate the level of disappointment, because then you see, like the urgency of the pain. And then you ask again about the primary benefits of use case or use cases of your product. So you go deeper and deeper, and then you have so much intel on their customers and their needs and their pain points. Then I think there will be no problem in finding, product market fit and therefore best fit customers. You can ask about, so for example, primarily benefit, and then you can ask additional what supportive or like additional benefits you get from our product. You can leave it as an open-end question. And then you can also ask, like, on the scale from 1 till 10, how important this benefit is. And this is how you measure measure the effectiveness of your product or relevance of your product to the market. Because again, helps you to map your perception with the perception and need of the market and reality. So if you have a product market fit and then you are, like trying to figure out the segment on what you want to focus, and then you are scale up and you already data on customers a lot, and you got the feedback from the sales team and customer success team, you collect all the data, you still can ask this question and they will guide you in the right direction. So first of all, you ask internally, you collect the internal intelligence. So who do we want to go after, like what segment, and who are actually coming to us? So who is staying, how long they are staying with us, what product they use, how deep or like how engaged they are with our product. And then you break it down and you collect that information. You go and check to the, like how much revenue this product, like if you have a couple of products, like in the second part of the question, you have a couple of products, then measure how much revenue each product generate to your company. Therefore, you can, like grade the relevance and importance. You collect the data from, like CRM system, from, like Google Analytics, or are there any analytical tools that you use? You collect, like product data as well about the features that are widely used. You collect revenue from, like, again, from the CRM system or any other system that you track the revenue and ROI. You also look at the, like what I call demographics as well, company size, or like if you B2B, it's definitely company size, segment, industry, use case, because there are so many complex products that it's maybe combo of two products, and because it solves a specific use case. Location, because again, we'll move forward later on to the second part of the question that is connected to the segmentation. And then you can define what is the most valuable segments to your business and company. For example, who buy quickly, and you see, like the pipeline of sales team. And sometimes if it's super complex solution, like it can take you a year to sell that to enterprise, and then sometimes it takes you like 3 months. So you have all that intelligence and all the data, and you can leverage that, and you can then focus on, like define 1 to 4 segments that you can focus on, and then marketing will work with them and sales as well. Also look at the percentage. For example, now today we are focusing on this segment. Um, how this segment is growing. Is it changing? Is it decreasing? What is the, like what is the percentage of the shift? Sort of like trying to have a bit future scenarios in that sense. And then it's way, like once you know who love your product and who get the most value, then it's way easier to sell to them. And then you can have, like this additional segment, like to test out. Um, and then again, the second part of the question was related to the we have too many products, and to local markets. This is what I said. Like once you collect, so it's established business. They have a very good structured marketing team. Too many products is a challenge, even like when developing a pricing chain, pricing page is like to structure also so much information on one page. It can be a hell of a task. So I would suggest, again, you collect the data and the information on that, and maybe your data will provide you some hints. So for example, there are top 5 most popular products in Germany are this. The top 5 popular products, I don't know, in UK are this, and in United States can be totally different. So you can bundle them based on the value that the local markets are getting, on the use case or a category. And then I think you can even sell them in the bundles, say like showcasing how each product, like support and reinforce and empower each other. So like it's easier than to bundle that up and sell it. That would be my suggestion if you have too many products, but then you can bundle them up based on the value or use case that you are, like delivering. So I would suggest doing that. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the main questions that I had and I wanted to cover. So today we talked about mainly product launchers, segmentation, a bit on positioning, but we didn't dive that in. Um, yeah, the main takeaway is like try to collect feedback from the market. Market will tell you exactly how they perceive your product, what they love the most. Um, and I hope you find this session useful and relevant. And if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me. And for the next session, I will try to, like develop a specific topic that we can talk about. For example, how to develop messaging, what to do with the positioning, how to structure, or like how to select channels or something like that. And still it's easier to do it. Messaging is very interesting and tricky part, and I've been sometimes curious to see how many companies, for example, use we on or our on their homepage, and some is just like, oh, like 20 times, and it's like so self-centered. They are not talking about users, but they're talking about themselves. So yeah, thank you very, very much for your time and for being patient with me. If you have any questions, DM me, please. And again, thank you for joining and have a nice rest of the day. Bye.